And welcome back to the Football Fanatic podcast. This is episode 29. I'm your host, Declan O'Connor. With me, as always, is Daniel Coulter. And back in the hot seat this week after his week of running errands is Howard Costello. Howard, good to have you back. How are you?
Good, good lads. How are you all keeping? I enjoyed last week's podcast. There was a few interesting
Kieran,
topics came up.
Kieran and Lenny tried to take your place, and even with two of them on, they couldn't do it. So
Yeah. I met Kieran at the weekend there. I was hearing that there was a bit of you were trying to manipulate the two of them against each other prior to the podcast.
yeah, that's right. I text them both saying how or Lenny, Kieran's going to be on, saying don't be afraid to prod the cow a little bit. I thought Kieran, Lenny's going to be on. Don't be afraid to kind of poke him as well a little bit. In fairness, they were actually quite what's the word polite to each other, and there was no major mishaps. So yeah, but glad to have you back.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Good. It was a
I'm
good
not
episode. Enjoyed it.
I'm not saying they don't have football knowledge. They absolutely do. But it is good to have like City, Liverpool, and
Debatably.
Arsenal. Yeah, no. They know what they're talking about. But it's good to have the three of us on because the three of our teams are going for gold or going for silver, or whatever we want to call the Premier League title. We will start with yesterday. The weekend review: Manchester City versus Manchester United. I'm gonna have a very, very quick recap myself of what I thought of the game, and I'm gonna hand it over to Howard. Then Dan, you can come in after that. I thought City were very good, controlled the game. Now, granted, Rashford got an absolute screamer 8 minutes in, but even despite that, I still thought we controlled the game. Haaland obviously missed a sitter. Um, for him, and I was like, it should have been in the back of the net, absolutely. Um, Then Foden went and got his own screamer as well. 58, 59 minutes. I thought he in general he grabbed a great game with a scruff of the neck. And I've been critical of him at times in terms of tracking back. Dan, I think you have as well at times going forward. Like he's a joy to watch, but the other side of his game, tracking back and fighting, doing the ugly side of the game. I can't say that I've seen it in the past, but yesterday there was one actual one. Anthony went down the right wing and he tracked back and like he made the tackle, the ball went out of play, and he kind of tried to kind of get the crowd going. And it's that type of thing in his game that will bring him to the next level. So hopefully more of it to come. One thing that really pissed me off though about Man United yesterday, and like it annoyed me because Neville and Keane were on comment on punditry basically saying that it was a good performance by United, etc. But I didn't see that. Maybe you two will have a different view on it. I'm being biased perhaps, but I saw Onana going down holding his leg, and I don't think there was a thing wrong with him trying to waste time, which I get is part of the game, but it just really left a sour taste in my mouth. But as well as that, before Foden got the equaliser, Rashford was kind of chasing Walker to the ball,
Yeah.
and he went down, and Jesus, he went down so easily. And replays will show that kind of they were tussling back and forth, and I'd say if Walker had a finger on his shoulder, and Rashford went down, and then ball went back up the field, Foden scores. But I just thought Rashford, given his kind of interview during the week where he said a few things straight about people doubting him and his commitment to Man United. I just thought after scoring a screamer, after doing so much right for yourself in 8 minutes, and then he did nothing for the rest of the game. I know he subbed off after talk of not being fully fit, but I was delighted with the outcome. I thought we fully deserved to win. Eric Ten Hag saying that they had a chance to win as well. I thought it was ridiculous. So Howard, I'm going to go to you
Yeah.
first and just ask your thoughts on the game. What did you
Well,
think of it
yeah,
overall?
so the Ten Hag business, like this is classic Ten Hag comes out afterwards, like we could have won, we should have won, all this kind of thing. Like I think he kind of has to just stop that carry on, to be honest. He kind of he's making, I'd say, United fans infuriated by even saying these things. It's just something that he really irks me about him is this whole post match like falseness that he gives off. And he's doing it all season.
Yeah.
And if I was a fan of United, I'd be giving out about that as well. And it would put me off him in general. But no, look, the match in general, I thought, obviously I'm coming from an Arsenal point of view, hoping that United would have got something. And after 8 minutes, I was like, delighted to a point that
It was
they
a
have
great goal.
something to hold on to, like, But United just aren't, like we said it numerous times on this show, like they're not a good team. They're not a good squad. They're like you're playing Johnny Evans at the back, Maguire, like you're struggling, like you're clutching at straws, and then I'd say where the likes of Keane and Neville are coming from now on deck is like, oh, they played well. They played well probably for their capabilities on the day, like, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
like it's not like they played well as a United team that everyone knows United to be. They just literally sat back, let City play right in front of them and rely on Onana passing, being able to pass out with the back. Like that's been their go-to for a lot of them away games. But like, it's not where United need to be, or it doesn't show where United can be or where they're going. It's just, it's like if you compare that to last season's performance, I think was that when the Fernandez deflection went in or something? Was that or the
The
offside or something?
this was that the 6-3 game?
The 6-3, no, it was the one United actually won. Was that, or
Oh,
maybe that
sorry.
was in Old Trafford, I think. Was it oh, Fernandez offside? Anyway, I remember I think he was offside, but it was given as a goal or whatever. But anyway, look, all I'm saying is like you think from last season getting Ten Hag in that they would have gone up another level this season, and it just hasn't happened. They've gone back.
Yeah.
They've gone back to it. They've 100% gone back to it.
What
So
you call it? I suppose Ten Hag, like, I know you disagree completely with what he does in interviews. He's basically telling lies.
deflection, yeah, just deflects,
It
yeah,
deflects. That's exactly what he does. Ferguson had a way of doing it as well, but like he tended to protect the players by deflecting and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
there could be an element of that, but I mean, you would from Ferguson you'd get a response. With Ten Hag, you don't. It doesn't look like he's getting a response. Now, granted, they went on a 4 game run, but that could be. There's a lot of kind of stories within those 4 games that easily some of them could have gone the other way. And then of course they lost to Fulham. Then yesterday they lost to
There was a
yeah.
few decent performances, I thought. Casemiro, I thought, looked a bit better than what he's been recently. I thought he was all right in the center of the pitch to a point. And then after that, like Onana, I thought, like, you're getting him in for what reason? Is he a shot stopper? Because he's not a better shot stopper than De Gea. He can play out of the back a bit better, but his calamities in front of goal in regards to his reflexes and we've seen it, like there's been a howler nearly every 2 or 3 games when he started
Yeah.
this season. And now, and because he can just do this passing from out from the back, which is obviously important. But again, second goal there, his like, his hands are just made
Yeah,
of whatever
absolutely.
butter or whatever you want to call it. But it just went through his hands so easily, like,
Too
um,
easily.
too
Actually,
easily for a top keeper, like.
on that second goal, actually, it just kind of brought a point to my mind. Alvarez was heavily involved with the second goal. He
Yeah,
played the
yeah.
1-2 with Foden, and of course Alvarez didn't start.
Mm.
Doku started ahead of him. So Dan, I know you're a big fan of Alvarez. So a question just I'm thinking now, like, would you have Alvarez starting ahead of Doku at the moment?
Yeah, Alvarez can play anywhere
Yeah,
across that front line. Like I mentioned earlier on in the season, I think when Alan comes back, you need to find a place for him.
yeah,
Now it's debatable how you fit them all in because you've Silva back as well, and it's hard to know where you fit them all in.
yeah,
But
I know.
100% Alvarez. I'd have Alvarez ahead of Doku. Yeah, I just think Doku is a good player. I think nearly you could argue, if Alvarez starts, bringing Doku on 15, 20 minutes to go in the game at stretch maybe. But for me, Alvarez for his what is he 2021? He's very young
20,
anyway, isn't he?
22, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Like
young,
like
yeah.
he is such a good read of the game. He's so intelligent on the ball, and I think that he's very dynamic, so he could play anywhere across the front line. Yeah, for me, he definitely would start. Surprised actually he didn't start because he actually his work rate is immense as well. Alvarez, he tracks back. He's got that kind of South American hunger in him. Like he's a
It's a bit
very
of
good player.
Jesus. He's like a Jesus regen, pretty much.
Well, it's a bit early to kind of say that. His goal scoring, I think, has been quite decent since
Yeah,
he's
well, I
been that
suppose
side.
in regards to working off the ball
Oh,
and
sorry,
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah,
a
okay, yeah,
replacement
which,
for Jesus, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So he would start at Doku, yeah. Like, Jesus, I can't see how he'd miss out on the 11, but then again, outside
Yeah,
of Doku, there's nobody else he'd start ahead of.
Like,
He wouldn't start ahead of Brian. He wouldn't start ahead of Silva. He wouldn't start ahead of Foden. So
yeah.
it's kind of that left side is probably the position. And if that is the case, and if that's where they ended up fitting him into the side, you'd worry for Jack Grealish even when he comes back from his injury.
yeah.
How does he get into that team?
I
Just
wasn't I wasn't massively impressed with Doku the weekend.
no, no, neither was
I
I,
think
and that's a
I think
couple of
if
weekends in a
yeah,
row.
You'd worry now if teams can figure him out, like figure away his movements are, that it might be something that, like, is he just a one trick pony, like, you know what I mean, or can he develop his game
Well,
to meet that
yeah,
He's
demand or
very
whatever.
different. He's very different than I think they mentioned that competition again, but he's very different than all the other City players in the sense that
absolutely, yeah.
you
Yeah,
kind of
he's a
don't know you
trigger.
don't know what you're going to get with him. And as you're saying there, Howard, he hasn't been that impressive in the last couple of games. And it's kind of like it's kind of nearly like you know what he's going to do now, but
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
has that bit of
He
kind of something again. Like again, they're very young. Like he's a very young player as well.
he's
Like
only
all these guys are
22 as well, like
yeah,
so.
yeah, all of these lads that they're bringing in, like they're he was an that no one had ever heard of.
Mm,
He's still a decent player. I think he'd get a game in an awful lot of sides in the Premier League, even in the bits that we've seen of him. But again, like that in the City side, you know, that kind of retaining possession. He's more kind of get the ball, try and go to the outside, try and get across, and
absolutely, yeah. He like I suppose
yeah.
it's something we've lacked is a player that goes to the byline and cuts it back ever since Leroy Sané left.
Hmm.
Sterling maybe 20. Yeah, no, Sterling as well.
do,
But
do you know what,
so
could we just say, like, do you think he's going to flop? Like, he's in this kind of
I
the perfect time now. He's played a few games, he's been really good for a lot of games, he's
I
been
th
kind of
I
poor
think
now. You're in the stage now where you could, if we wanted to predict ourselves now and check in a year's time, is
yeah.
he going to
I
flop? What
I
would
don't.
you what would you go for?
I think it depends on his game time, but I don't think he'd be a flop. And even like what did he didn't cost that much? Was he 50 million? Like just
Yeah,
you
it's
Yeah,
know,
nothing.
I don't know. I think flop. I always kind of feel, especially when a player comes in into the first season and coming into a very settled side, it's hard to kind of like he's fighting for positions. There were a lot of City players, but I don't
yeah.
think flop would be a bit
Well, I
strong. I
mean,
thought
like, is he
you
gonna
know
is he gonna is he gonna be sitting on the bench for the majority of next season?
I think that
that's a possibility.
Yeah,
If you
because
look
that
at their,
would, for that, me, that would be a flop.
yeah.
Personally, I know you're saying City to have
do you think
such
he was
resources,
bought to
that, but
start though? I don't think he was bought to start though.
probably not. But he
I
started
think
so
so.
well, I think, and
Yeah.
then
That I think that's the key. Like he started so well. If he started maybe a little bit slower, maybe
slow burn, like.
literally if he got
He's
into it,
peaking too soon then.
Yeah,
if he phased into it as opposed to kind of starting as well as he did.
yeah,
But he started very well. Then I think in November, late November, he got injured for a few weeks. He was out. He came back, and he hasn't got up to that level again. Um,
but,
but I
but
think
anyway, fuck him on the game. On the game, let's concentrate on the game. You know,
we'll
whatever.
call it. Yeah.
Like
What do you call it?
the game itself was actually I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good watch. I think the fact that United got the early goal it
yeah.
made it much more
Get us
interesting because
excited. Yeah,
I mean you Howard have talked here before about that there's certain games where you just feel like City are going to just dominate the ball. It'll nearly be kind of nearly robotic,
yeah.
and so I kind of felt that that's the way the United game is going to go, especially with like they have an awful lot of injuries, lads. Like that's the one thing I will say. I know we can talk about Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans only starting at centre back because they have serious injuries at centre back. Lindelof is
Yeah,
a left back. Like if you look at it, like Liverpool were missing. We were lucky, I suppose, we were missing Tsimikas and Robertson, and Gomez could fill in there. Like United have nobody that else that can kind of fill in at left back. I don't know, like if you were to take Saliba and Gabriel out of Arsenal centre back partnership. Like who are they left with? I mean, like they have taken a fair whack with injuries to get them a small bit kind of back on that. Like I think it's some mad stat about their back four, like not being able to have a settled back four. You can see like now the Arsenal are really, in particular, that they are reaping the benefits of being able to
but
field
then
like
you blame the recruitment there. They're buying Varane, who was riddled with injuries before he even came to
yeah,
the
yeah,
club.
and
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, that's right. And again, actually, we can get into the other players that they bought. They bought Mount as well, which was another one that's
Yeah, another one.
injury
Yeah,
prone, and I
like,
don't know where he is. He's been
yeah,
injured
he's
for.
just gone.
You
He's
forget that he
gone.
even said you forget that United even bought him. Like that's so
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
he's
it's
played.
crazy.
But just on the game, yeah, I did think that again Foden, that just touch of class. Like I thought earlier in the season he was poor at times, but he's really come into his own since
Yeah.
Christmas. I think he's been up there, especially with De Bruyne coming back into the team now as well. Foden has been kind of shift more out to the right, but like he was excellent yesterday. Even just he doesn't waste the ball really. He's just so good and composed on it. And again, he's a very young player. That's the other thing about him
Yeah.
as well. You think about him, he's
Yeah.
only a young player as well. But City definitely deserved it on the balance of play. Like
There was a couple of chances just on that. I thought in the second half, as Dan was saying, we were all optimistic. 1-0,
mm,
1-0 at half time. Now optimistic, but obviously realistic. But there was a few kind of breakaway chances that United had, like counter-attack. Now there were half counter-attacks, but like you would think a more clinical counter-attacking team could have made decent opportunities out of them, like 3-on-3 and 4-on-3 or whatever situations. That was one
Yeah.
thing that I thought, and they
The,
kind of messed it up a couple of times.
the big one for me, Howard, was when they were 1-0 up and the Rashford one where he headed the ball into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the big
yeah,
one. That was the
yeah.
one. I think if it goes 2-0, like
It's a
you
different
know,
game. Yeah,
yeah, it is. But you always kind of felt, even though United had get gone that 1-up, especially the way the second half was going, you just know at City they're going to grind you down. They're going to pass around you, and eventually they get a breakthrough. It took a screamer on this occasion, but usually they do find a way. And then I kind of felt bad for just like the players that they brought on. Like they were bringing on kids like that were coming into this kind of cauldron. Then it was 2-1, and they were bringing on like your man Aaron back. Come on, it's just amazing when you see, like, I remember earlier in the season, in the summer, there was talk of Liverpool needed a midfielder. But this is like the savior. Like Man United fans were talking
Yeah.
about, we get Aaron back now. This is going
I
to be
thought the
the
same for them, to be honest.
missing piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he has, when he's played, I know fair enough he played a few games in left back. But anytime I've seen him play for United, he has been shocking. And he hasn't been able to get near the team for the last while because he has been so poor. So that one just hasn't worked out. Thankfully, I think it's only a loan for them, so they can chip him
Yeah.
back. But look, that's what you get with City. They don't panic. That's one thing about them, that it doesn't matter what the situation is. They don't seem to panic. They always trust themselves, and they do always seem to find a way. Didn't think, like, a couple of other players didn't actually got a great game. I thought De Bruyne got an awful lot of the ball, but I actually thought he was quite wasteful at times. Yesterday on it, but he got a lot of space. Haaland again outside of the goal, you could argue he missed that chance, but he was probably non-existent for the majority of the game.
He was
wasn't really.
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's had a few of them, but it's amazing. He kind of has quiet games, but yet still ends up on the score sheet. So look,
The less said about the miss, the better. It was ridiculous.
yeah, and just the last thing I'll say is for United as well, it was an extra blow considering the way results went for them at the weekend. With Villa getting the late winner and Spurs with the late comeback. So it's looking grim enough in regards to the Champions League thing. And just on the last thing I'll say about it is I wouldn't even be his press conferences are standard at this stage of what Ten Hag says, but in his pre-match conference, I don't know if you seen it, he said that Anthony could become unstoppable.
Yeah,
so when he made that comment in that press conference, because I've been talking to a lot of friends, the United fans, that was the one that really, I think, irked them. It's not even about saying they're brilliant report. There was that one that he reckons Anthony could be
dig in your own grave saying stuff like that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From
the record though is when you look at from when City the takeover, or since Ferguson, and they showed the stat there on Sky, like, and it shows the difference and the gulf in class between both sides of Manchester at the moment, and the money spent was the interesting one at the bottom. It was, I think, since Ferguson left, United spend was higher than City's, with like 1.2 billion, and yet they're probably worse off it now than they've been in a while. They're probably further away than they've been. So. Yeah.
Well, fair points. So I suppose with us winning, Liverpool winning, Arsenal playing
Nunes.
Arsenal playing Sheffield. We'll get to that in a sec. Don't worry. What do you call it? Arsenal playing tonight against Sheffield United. You would presume they're going to get 3 points there. You never can tell for sure, but you'd presume. It's an extra layer to kind of what's turning out to be a brilliant run, brilliant race. And I suppose just a question I want to put to both of you is, what has been the most impressive trait about your team this season? So again, just want a quick answer because we want to move on to the referees topic as well.
Come back.
So
come back. We've been behind in so many games this season and come back and won them. So just
what do you put comebacks down to? Like, is it team character?
Mentality. Character mentality. Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
And that comes from
the Klopp effect.
Well, I think it's Klopp, but it's it is. Of course, it starts there. But I think the type of players that we bought as well, an awful lot of the ones that we bought, like we bought winners, we bought players that seem to have that mentality, and that as well to fight. So, it's one thing, kind of, as we just talked about, alluded to United there. You can buy all these players, but whether or not they have the appetite to put in hard yards, or whether the appetite when it comes and it gets difficult. Like, even our young lads are fucking taking the ball in the half turn and trying to play through midfield. So for me, that would be the main trait. Yeah, would be the fight and the character. Yeah.
Very good. Howard, what has impressed you most about Arsenal this season?
I'm going to say just their defense. I think it's probably best defense in the league. I think it leads them to have a lot of control in every game they play in. Like, like the goals and the games that they've lost points in this year, it's just been a snatch and grab, or apart from maybe the Fulham game, but like there's been very little shots like on the actual goalie, like on Raya. So I would just have that down as your defense. Like you basically, okay, you've taken Thomas Partey, who has a bit more of that creative thing, but you put like one of the best defensive midfielders in the world in front of an already brilliant backline. Like, so
Yeah.
to get through that, like, is quite
And
difficult.
yeah, their work rate of
Yeah,
Arsenal is
off the
phenomenal as
ball,
well.
yeah,
It's
they're
unbelievable.
pressing, all that kind of stuff. But I would just say
It's almost
defense
like, yeah, it's almost like
as
the
a
ugly side of the game has improved.
yeah, they're physically huge now.
Yeah.
Like, remember years
Yeah.
ago, Wenger was like, "Oh, I buy the small little tippy tappy players to try and copy Barcelona and Xavi and Iniesta," and
And
sure that
United kicked the
went.
lumps out of them. Remember
Yeah,
Reyes? Do you
yeah,
remember
yeah,
Antonio
yeah.
Reyes? Remember
A
United
hundred
kicking the
percent.
lumps out of him?
Well, that was even post that, like with the Fabregas
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
Flamini,
yeah,
all that, like it was Santi Cazorla, all brilliant players, but like all like very light. Now you
yeah.
have big
True.
tall lads, Party, Havertz, whatever, like Gabriel, Saliba, Rice.
I
So
think
look,
Party is 5'6".
I don't know where
So
you're getting your facts from, Jack.
I don't know. I don't know what height he is. I'm just throwing
Oh
that
no,
out there.
Party's he's fuck
Is
6'3"
he
or
back
4,
yet?
so he's back tonight.
Is he?
He's on the bench. Yeah, he's on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how
So
that goes.
finally,
And on the City, I think our best trade is we were starting the season without De Bruyne. Haaland was out for a while, but yeah, we kind of kept chipping away. So I think not necessarily depending on star players, making it more of a team effort. And I suppose the whole second half jump, I mean, it started and it stalled against Chelsea, 1-1, but yeah, I like the way that they're kind of ticking over now as well, and I would presume hopefully they'll get by Copenhagen on Wednesday night into a quarter final. Huge game against Liverpool. Winnable, you would think, game in the FA Cup against Newcastle to get into the semi-final. So I mean, I had never considered the idea of a treble even being a possibility. I still don't, but I suppose again, just to be in that position and at the state, it'll be mid-March when we get there. So I mean, yeah,
Favorites for all three though.
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. But I
yeah,
mean, we'll see. Just other results over the weekend. So Everton 1, West Ham 3, Fulham 3, Brighton 0, Burnley 2, Bournemouth. Sorry, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2, Brentford 2, Chelsea 2, Newcastle 3, Wolves 0, Spurs 3, Palace 1, Luton 2, Villa 3, Notts Forest 0, and Liverpool 1. We're going to go into our topic. Our weekly rant is about referees this season, and I'm going to go straight into the Notts Forest and Liverpool game, obviously focusing on the incident at the end of the game where Paul Tierney, is not the ref,
yeah,
he
He stood down actually. I seen
he
their
was
break him
yeah.
saw
on.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
he's on VAR duty next weekend for
For the
Arsenal and
Arsenal game.
Brentford.
Great, thanks,
That's
lads.
it. That's a party of demo. That's a party. That's a demotion, is it? Put him on
Uh,
fire.
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
suppose look, I had kind of thought it was the biggest deal in the world until Sunday morning when everybody seemed to be talking about it. And then
Yeah.
E2 brought it up in our group chat as well. So just a quick discussion around it. Howard, what was your opinion on it? Obviously, look, the referee he has made a mistake in that the ball was given back to Liverpool when it should have been
Yeah.
retained by Nottingham Forest. There's the argument that, the goal was scored over 2 minutes later, the ball goes out of play twice, I think, in that time.
Yeah.
It's I can see both sides of it, so I'm just curious as to what your two sides of it are. Howard, what do
My
you think?
side is I watched the game live with another a Liverpool fan, and on the game, just quickly on the game itself, I thought Liverpool were lucky to win, but always possibly could win even if there's like 30 seconds left of the clock. Then when I saw that incident, I didn't cop it on when it
No,
was live. Like I was
neither
like,
did
oh
I.
my God, he should have
Neither did
given the
I.
ball
Yeah.
back. The main problem I think I have is your man came in with a kung fu kick, and like, did he actually make contact with any of the Liverpool players? Because if so, it should have been a free, really. But the letter of the law is that he didn't give a free. He gave a drop ball, and the drop ball was to Liverpool, even though Forest had possession. So it was an odd one. But again, I like looking at the goal itself. I was just infuriated how Forest didn't just boot the ball away. Like they had the chance to kick the ball away. They tried to play it out from the defense at the last kick of the game. Like it seemed ridiculous. what they tried to do, but look, they got what they deserved. They're trying to do that kind of crack in the 99th minute against Liverpool, like, you know.
And the Forest chairman, Pavarotti lad,
About right.
was he coming onto the pitch at full time?
He'd make bits of Paul Tierney, wouldn't he? He'd
He
fucking
would.
eat him for breakfast.
And now the other side of the coin, Dan. What did you think of it?
No,
I'm not actually. I'm not. I'm sorry to cut across
yeah.
you. I'm not. It doesn't bother me that it was Liverpool that got the late goal.
Mm,
It's the refereeing inconsistency that we spoke about so many times. So
mm.
apologies. I just want to make sure I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to go Liverpool here because I thought they, as you said a couple of minutes ago, it's their mentality. They don't give up, and they didn't give up here either. So, what did
Yeah.
you think of it?
No, I kind of pretty much the same as Howard, repeating kind of what he said, but like I didn't know was it live, and I really detest Premier Sports. You might mention that here before. I hate fucking this since the second game was over. I was out the door, beating the chest, and into the car to go and pick up my wife and that. So but I didn't hear any of the commentary until I got home later that evening, and then the social media in particular was quite volatile, which usually is when Liverpool score or win a game or get a late winner. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of it, if that was fucking West Ham that happened to, I don't think there'd be half as much being said about it,
No.
to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do feel that like the amount of time that it passed, you know, it was a mistake, of course. You go back to it, that is a mistake by Paul Tierney. I read some great ones, and I can go into it about the conspiracies that there's a kind of this is Klopp's kind of thing. There's a Klopp effect here now because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
leaving,
It's
so
kind of
he's making
funny
all
to
the
get on the back of
decisions.
that, though, isn't it? It's kind
Yeah,
of funny,
yeah. And
like.
then Paul Tierney apparently is a big Liverpool fan, apparently, I was reading. I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good one there. Yeah, he spoke
Him
to
and
several
Klopp were having
times.
dinner there last
Yeah, yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
Like, get
But
it.
look, yeah, it was a mistake, but like, come on, it wasn't as if it was a thing where
Yeah,
deflection, ball goes out for a corner, it
Yeah.
should have been a goal kick. You know, that I can understand the extent. I thought Forest, to be honest with you, embarrassed themselves a small bit with their antics at full time, if I'm perfectly honest about it. Forest have got, and we'll get into that as well. Like Forest have got a few decisions that they shouldn't have got this season as a result of VAR. But look, on the balance of the actual game itself, we were lucky. We were flat. Didn't create a whole lot from open play. Forest had the best chances of the game. Alanga should have probably had a couple of goals. Gallagher
yeah.
made a really good save, but I actually thought that we were very lucky. With you could say with that
And you weren't
decision.
creating a whole pile, then. It wasn't like you
No,
were banging on the
no, we're
door and
flat.
like,
Yeah, yeah, we're very flat. Like the Joe Gomez has been put in the kind of the midfield role to spread the ball around, the centre back in the
yeah,
midfield. In recent, that's how bad things can are with the injury pile up. And I think it was the first game since Liverpool got all the injuries where I think they really missed Jota and Salah, because there was very little. Gapco was brutal, and actually in the cup against in the F Cup against Southampton, he was brutal as well. And he's one that I don't think has stepped up to the plate with the fact that so many players got injured and he was kind of not struggling to get into the team. He hasn't really taken that chance, if you ask me. But yeah, look, if you want to say it was a mistake, yeah, it was. But like 2 minutes with the ball actually went out of play, like within that as
Twice.
well,
yeah,
twice. So I think a lot more has been made of the fact that it was a late winner for Liverpool. I suppose the fact that it's a three-way title race. There is that added kind of bit of, when we look back uh, at the end of the season, could this be crucial? But you could look,
Mhm.
we can all look at
Of
many
course.
points for that. So for me, anyway, it was a poor performance. Got away with it, got 3 points, and
yeah,
on to the next game. I think Forest were a small bit over the top at full time, because as Howard is rightfully said, the ball was
Look,
headed out,
yeah.
had possession. All they had to do was boot it away and had a point, which they would have taken, fucking get your hand off before the
yeah,
game
yeah,
for.
yeah. It's their own
I
fault.
think honestly, I think City and Arsenal are going to benefit from something similar, in the run-in. Like every team, it does tend to balance itself
Yeah.
out. But just on to referees, our kind of rant this
Can I,
week.
can I just before we move on to
Yeah,
that, can I just make one really quick point? And I just want to
better be a
say,
good one.
yeah, I just want to get it out into the open. How Vincent Company is still in a job at Burnley is beyond me at this stage. It's annoying me that I don't know what it is that's bugging me about it, but it's like, how is he still there? Like if it was any other team, they definitely would have got rid of him. Like what? Are they just going to go down and then hopefully brings them back up? Is that kind of now kind of
I
take
mean,
your money for staying up, and
Yeah,
or sorry, your money for getting into the league, take a parachute payment to go back down a company, and he might get you back up again. I'm
they
just looking
yeah,
at
were
it going,
no, no. That's
they're so naive, and they have been all season. He's never changed the style of play. Like we other managers we've absolutely annihilated on this podcast, and in the Keane made a really good point at the weekend that Luton, the teams that are down near the bottom, the ones that came up, that people have kind of gone easy enough on them. But I actually think that like he Company hasn't got as much, if you want to call it abuse or flack, whatever you want to call it, as he kind of should have for the fact that he's just gone out and played the same way every week. Hasn't changed the style of play at all. And like they're conceding goals, like there's fucking like the
I'd
you know,
say,
but
yeah, what's going on there? What I think was going on there is that because they had such a good season last season and dominated the championship and played so exciting football, such as like football, that he has such, I don't know, whatever money in the bank with the owners, points in the bank with the owners to say, oh look, it's not working out in Premier League, but I'll bring you up again next year if need be or whatever. But like that's not to say it's right, Dan. I'm not saying it's right, but I
but
think
there's loads of managers, Howard, that have done what you just said in the championship. They've got a team up and they've got the top.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
got to
I
win.
think where they what everyone was so impressed is the way they played.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you could go and you can get rid of company. And I think he's very lucky to be in the job. So, but you could go and you could get rid of company. You could get a Neil Warnock or a whatever you Van Wilder in, and you're playing you're playing Route One football, and you're trying to stay up. But like maybe the owners are thinking right. It's we're more trying to worry about the style of football. We were under dice for so long playing that
But
style of football,
yeah,
Chris Wood and all that back in the day. But
but
now it's changed.
I'll say, right. So my final point on it is that, and I know this for a fact. If that was an English manager, if that was Gerrard, if that was Lampard, who you could say what company has won in the game, his stature in the game, it was one of the best centre backs ever played in the Premier League. But if that was an English manager now, the rollicking that they'd be fucking getting, and for just whatever it is, he just is kind of
Do you
kind of
reckon? Jeez, I'd nearly say it was nearly.
100%.
Did it not be the opposite? No, would it not be sticking by like with the press? I don't know. If it was Gerrard, let's say, do you
No, no.
reckon?
I think if it was an English manager in there now, then an absolute, yeah, with the kind of profile the kind of company has, and with what he's won in the game, I think he's getting off lightly. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So that's just my
I'll
point on
end
it.
I'll end it with my kind of take on it. Is it they're on 17 points, I think? Is it 17 or 13? I'm not sure. It's one or the other.
That's 17. That's it. It could hardly be
17.
on second
So
13 points, but maybe
sorry,
you're
no,
right.
you're right. No, it is. It's 17. Um, have they basically taken to the fact that they're going down? They're on the same points as
They're on
Sheffield
Hmm.
United.
13. 13.
13.
Jeez, they
Okay,
are
there
on
you go.
13.
Yeah, same as
Them,
Sheffield
Ooh.
United.
them and Sheffield
Yeah,
are both on 13.
yeah,
So I
Oh, they're
mean,
at the same amount of points as 7.
yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
how
that's what I
bad
mean.
they are.
That's what I mean. But like Wilder, they made a change. Sheffield United
Yeah.
had no
Yeah.
money. They had zero money to spend. Company actually spent not big money, but he spent a few bob. Like he's brought a few players in. He spent decent money on the goalkeeper Trafford, didn't he as well? But like
Yeah,
you're looking at it going like Jesus Christ, like they've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games like without a win, and they're kind of
yeah.
there going like no one's actually talking about this job. That's what I'm kind of just like
Yeah, I
no one's
know.
actually. That's the point I'm making, and we made the podcast here earlier in the season about just how naive the way that they kind of play, that they don't have a plan B. It's like, okay, we're going to play this way, but it's great to watch. And like the content field earlier in the season, or recently, and in fairness, they were lucky not to get something. Like, but they're playing decent football. The thing is, there comes a time here where you're playing teams, especially a lot of the teams that are playing down in the bottom of the table, like they were punked 3-0 by Palace there, who were kind of, I suppose you could say, a relegation rival. Bournemouth have battered them there now as well. Like they were even at home against Luton and couldn't win. Like
Yeah.
I just kind of look at it going right. They're pretty much now just going to let company have the look of it, see it
Well,
out. Now they're
that's
probably
what I
going to
mean.
defend.
I think like they may have accepted their fate and they will regroup during the summer, give him a go, give him another go, possibly in the championship next year. And then if it doesn't work out, get rid of him. If he does get them back up, continue with him. It's hard to know. He's a likable player.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he is. Oh, no,
you
yeah,
know,
he is. Yeah.
he is a likable person. Like there's a lot of passion about him. The way he talks about football, you can tell he loves what he's doing. But there is a naivety to him. I thought Burnley were going to be in the top 10. Like, look, they're in second 19th. So I mean, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think he has done his job this season. So when you don't do your job, you know what happens. Um, on to Premier League referees. Just a quick discussion on them. Out of 10, the standard of refereeing this season, Howard, what do you think? Take
Oh,
everything into account. VAR, refereeing decisions
mm.
in play, comments made after the match, this PGMOL making apologies
Yeah,
every.
I'd say solid 3 maybe.
Okay, I thought it
3
might
out of 10.
I thought it might be 5 or 6, but fair enough.
No,
Howard, what would
3.
you go? Or not Howard, sorry, Dan, what would you say?
Yeah, I probably would go middle of the road. I'd say I would have
Okay.
gone slightly higher than Howard.
Dan would have said 1 or 2, but after the decision there at the weekend, he's got a bit higher.
I give him 1 or 2 points. But
yeah,
I mean,
but I yeah, like it's
the referees have
it's
been like, I think the podcast has been so enjoyable for us and the people that listen as well, because there has been so much drama caused by the referees this season.
Yeah,
And I
like
mean,
I wouldn't blame. I don't blame the referees per se all the time. The system
yeah,
is the system that's in place is pretty poor with the VAR at the moment. Like it's not being used correctly. It's
yeah.
not being perfected. You know what we were saying last time. You have a referee that's in doing VAR, and his way of looking at it can be a different way another person's
that,
VAR. Well,
and that's
yeah,
100% it.
yeah.
That's 100% it. Yeah,
Yeah, and like
yeah,
if you just have the same people doing the VAR and just have them as VAR people, that would probably make things a bit easier rather than having a ref that's coming in and out,
Interesting. I didn't think of that one.
doing different things. Yeah, no, like that's what I think they're talking. I think there was an advert put out by the PGMOL talking about getting people in to do these kind of jobs.
They're recruiting, are they?
They're recruiting, yeah. So it's if anyone wants to throw their hat in the ring.
I have refereeing
Yeah, there you go,
experience,
Dag, yeah.
Find me wearing a headset behind the VAR
Yeah.
camera next season.
So yeah, so look, that's
That's
the
an
main issue.
interesting point. Keep the
Yeah.
VAR people in the VAR seats, keep the
yeah,
referees on the pitch.
Because it's a consistent, then at least you have consistency. At least it's the
Yeah.
same decisions for the same type of fouls and situations. Well, and I think this crack about like, oh, the referee is running over to the monitor. I wonder what he's gonna do. Like that's just it's
yeah.
just garbage. Like
That needs to be sorted though,
that
doesn't
needs
it?
to be sorted. They did. I think was it even the African Nations Cup? They were like that was being praised by the way they were doing the VAR. They were actually making they were using it correctly. Like they were going over and they were actually analyzing it properly. Not
Yeah.
not like oh you need to see this that it's wrong or whatever. It's just like look this happened. What do you think it's a foul or not a foul? Like you can make the decision on it.
And was there, I don't know the answer to that, was there a situation where the ref has ever gone against what the VAR
Yeah,
has?
well in the African Cup Nations they did, yeah, a few
Really?
times. Yeah. So that was something
I'd
that was a
love to
bit
see that, because I mean, the
yeah,
second you see the ref going like this,
yeah,
it's going to be either a penalty or whatever. But I mean, I'd
yeah.
love to see the referee kind of disagree with VAR if he genuinely believes
Like,
it's a
what's the
different.
point of calling them over if they're just gonna,
Yeah,
blow for a penalty or blow for whatever the person in the VAR is looking at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of, it's also part of this whole, this refereeing team or whatever, what do you call them? Like, the boys, like all the referee lads, be the wolf pack or whatever they want to call themselves. Like, they all have each
Stick
other's
together.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you hear
yeah.
Mike Dean talking about Anto and all these fucking people
Okay,
that like
okay.
all these nicknames for other refs that he's good mates. I wouldn't want to throw Anto under the bus, this kind of stuff. But like this kind of stuff. So like there's a whole brotherhood there, referee brotherhood that like when
Referee brother.
someone wants to get called over to the thing, he's not going to say no. My fellow referee brother has got this
Yeah,
wrong,
I
so
get you.
it's all the one like.
Yeah.
Is there an argument to be made for referees having to face the media after the game? Dan, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, like I know it's kind of always it's gone back to what you call it, Howard Webb as being kind of the spokesperson for it. I do think that the communication is really poor. I think in the stadiums that's something that's been highlighted, that it's Daniels are talking about it being that you'll be able to listen into what the
Yeah.
next year you'll be able to listen in like in the rugby to what's been said
Is
and why
that
they've come
definitely
to that
going
decision.
ahead?
No, there was talk about it. I haven't heard anything that it's definitely going ahead, but like
Mm.
that's something like that is definitely needed. Referees make mistakes. I don't know whether or not after the game should they be put in front of
Yeah, I wouldn't be
a
for
post
that.
match, and I don't think I'd be for that either. But for us actually, like, oh, explain their decision. Like the referees make mistakes before VAR anthem was ever introduced. Referees have made mistakes, so
Yeah.
that one wouldn't be for me. But I do think the communication, especially for people in the ground, like it is. Like we've talked here, we've all given fairly good cases as to the shitty parts of VAR,
Mm.
like that Nunes goal. Like you're kind of celebrating, and then there
Yeah,
is that bit
exactly.
in the back of your head. Or has Nunes kind of shoved the
Yeah.
man, or is it,
Is he offside? Like, yeah.
yeah, that little bit of doubt is horrible for nearly any goal that's scored now. Like and then never mind being in the fucking stadium, and like, they need to also as well tie the time that some of these decisions are taken like as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
ever since the really bad one, the Liverpool Diaz one, ever since then I think with and the mistakes they've been making with the fucking lines and everything, like it just seemed to be taking forever now. Some of these decisions, and like we're looking at them, the commentary team, everyone's kind of saying oh yeah, like just play on, like or like come on, let's restart the game. and yet there's this like long, real delay, which is shite as well when you're watching it, like, live and that as well. And imagine the stadium's the same. So yeah, no, I wouldn't agree with them coming out afterwards, but I do think that there's the on-field kind of conversations how they came to that decision,
Pretty
and
good.
how they end there about that kind of thing. I hate it when you see, oh, he's going to the monitor, because like what decision. You'd love that bit of doubt, like where
All right, well,
referees
you hate
turn.
it, but if it's your own team, you love it. It's, oh, he's
Yeah, of
going to the
course.
monitor.
Of course. But like, you'd love it, like, to be able to go over and just the referee and hear like what they're saying, like, and even like, but no, I'm sticking with my decision. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
That,
what I
I'd love to see that.
yeah, what I
Yeah,
find what they're doing a lot is like they're relying on VAR. Like they're looking at it and there's a foul in the box and they're
mm.
pretty much are about to
That,
give the foul, but they're like, you know what, wait, I'll hold off and I'll just see if VAR, covers me there. Which I think
yeah,
is the wrong
Yeah.
way of doing it, because then you look at other things, how many times we've been talking about like, oh well, if he gives it, they're not going to overturn it and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It's all
yeah,
subjective in the end of the day. But I think there's a lot of times and the refs are like, God, I think that's a foul, but he's not giving it because of the little bit of doubt that VAR is there, which technically that's not supposed to be there for that. It's to be there for. It's not like a buffer. It's to be there for the right and wrong. I can I just say on the media thing. Like, there's nothing infuriates me more than listening to Dermot Gallagher and Howard Webb talk their exact shit that they want to talk about all the time, which is, oh, like, I'd have to say he got the decision right there, and like Michael Owen, like, reading off a script, not asking any tricky questions at all. Like, it just
Uh,
like it
the, the,
infuriates
it's the
fans.
yeah,
brotherhood.
The brotherhood.
the ref watch though, Howard, is even worse. The one on Sky
Oh,
Sports
the
where
Sky Sport, Dermot Gallagher, he's
Stephen
again.
Warnock, and I can't think of the lady's name, but the two of them are on it.
Yeah,
But
and they're like, no, I don't think you don't.
oh, it's and your man Dermot Gallagher, it's fucking septic television is
It's
what it is.
brutal, like,
Yeah,
they could be. You could tell him it's black, and he'll say it's white. Like,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like, it's
yeah.
just
All right, so
infuriating.
what I'm getting is that, like, you don't want to see them, you don't think they should be made come in front of the media, but a lot more communication and in-game communication needs to be set up.
And a better system, and just be better. Be better at
Yeah,
what
I
to
mean,
do.
I would like, I'd love it to be gone. But I know that's not going to happen. But like,
Mm.
ideal
Yeah.
world, I think for most football fans, be just fucking get rid of it.
It'd be hard to go
Give,
back though.
give us our
Yeah,
game
yeah.
back.
Like there's too much money and it's gone. That won't happen.
Yeah.
As you said there, it's about trying to make it better, or as Howard said
Make
there
it,
about having the
yes.
same.
Literally. Are they going to bring in anything during the Euros this summer? Are they going to trial anything
A blue
perhaps? Or
card? No, no, they're
That's
not.
been scrapped, is it? Or
Yeah, it's
Sog's
been
going to be
scrapped
scrapped, is it?
apparently. Yeah.
it
Are they
didn't
doing
really,
anything?
I don't know.
Um,
I'm just out of curiosity. I was wondering where they, but
Y- you mentioned about just you said just to have a kind of think around that, didn't you, around the kind of an incident or something that kind of really
well, I
uh
mean,
kind of
if there's one that stands out to you, go for it. Yeah.
I do, right, but it kind of comes as a collective three. I just take them three, okay? They're
Okay.
they all have a common theme, which I think you'd agree with me with, and it's around goalkeeper protection, okay?
oh yeah.
So the three that I kind of come up with are we're going to go back to the very very start of this. So when VAR started at the season at being an absolute shambles was on Monday Night Football when Wolves went to
Oh
Old
yeah. Okay.
Trafford and
Okay.
Onana came out and absolutely poleaxed the Wolves player, and it was deemed that it wasn't clear and obvious error, and it turned out afterwards it was. Okay, so that was one. Then you have the Allison incident with Man City where he flapped at the ball, got the foul, and the goal was disallowed. Okay, and then the third one is I don't know if you remember, Forest, our good friends Nottingham Forest were playing Brentford, and Wisa went to take the ball off Turner,
Oh
and
yeah.
Turner like fucking done him, right. And if that was like an outfield player, it's a stonewall penalty, but they didn't give a penalty. Okay, so my common trend is the underlying thing that really pisses me off is the most blatant and obvious fouls that we've seen this year, where you're looking at going like how have they not overturned that, or how have they not given the decision for say some of them instances, but also the goalkeeper's protection, like this kind of thing of when we have this technology now not as well, like but there has to be that kind of day I think is gone, like where
Yeah.
goalkeepers are flailing and falling to the ground and getting soft frees. And I just give you three examples there where like if that was an outfield player for the Turner one, even like where Ederson got out and got and he get the benefit of the doubt with the and I don't think that was a penalty in that as well. But them kind of things, it's like the goalkeeper will always get the
Benefit of the
disadvantage.
doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, that's my little small little
It's an
ambulance of
interesting
it. Yeah,
Interesting.
and I'm sure there's more. They were just three that kind of stood out
Here,
for me when I
Yeah,
it's a good
like
one.
you're lucky, Dan, you don't watch the Portuguese league. You see people who fucking falling over. I watched that Arsenal game against Porto. Oh my God. It was literally, any half turn, someone trying to like get away and they get touched, they're on the ground. The ball's in play for, you're talking about that for like goalkeepers pretty much at the moment. Like the ball on average in the Portuguese league is in like for like I think 55% of the time, like,
Jesus
which is like
Christ.
ridiculously low. Like, and that was like that was what the game in the Arse game. And it was so boring. My God.
You'd be very
So
interested. Yeah, go on,
so
sorry.
just on that, like, remember they made the aggression things a bit. They made getting a foul a lot harder in the last few years. I thought that's really brought the league on a good bit. So like, in regards to
Yeah.
us slating refs, I thought that decision was a good decision from the overall
To let him
spectacle.
play on. Is it let
Yeah,
him
let them
take
play
any?
on, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the threshold for a foul kind of went up. Like,
yeah. But
I
even in
just
regard where Onana was able to do what he did the weekend
yeah.
was feign an injury. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
but
yeah.
like that actually was a complete like a tactic, and like the ref
Yeah.
was kind of
A
looking at it
blue
going,
card. That's what you get there.
like,
The blue card.
what's he do
It's
there? Like, is there something you could fucking do there?
well,
Like,
yeah, I
fucking
know. I mean, there
get the
is
sticker center back in goals there for a minute until he can come back on. Or
You can just book them and add on the time, I suppose.
see
That would be
how
yeah.
the.
do you know whether or not he's feigning an injury or not? I suppose is the thing. But you could see clear as day. You can't make him go off the pitch, so I go down here and
Yeah.
they're under the cosh at the time. So it was kind of it just takes the pressure off for a minute or two. But I don't know.
I
Yeah.
suppose no, it's a very interesting point as well. Goalkeepers getting almost like an unfair advantage just because of the position that they're in. But I mean, there was another incident yesterday where this 6 second rule where the goalie has to kick it out within
Hmm.
six
Yeah,
seconds. I mean, that was brought up yesterday on Sky,
yeah.
and I think it was 15 seconds by the time the goalie had got rid of it. And then they were just talking about on Sky, like, is there a time limit anymore? And they go, it's at the ref. They brought in Dermot Gallagher just to give his opinion on it, and he
Or
goes,
Dermot Gallagher.
Mike Dean, yeah.
Mike, apologies,
Oh
Mike
yeah,
Dean.
my team. Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, it's at the referee's discretion. So again, we go back to the referees. They need to be more decisive. If these rules are still in place, I don't know if they are, but I'm presuming they are. I've never heard of it being got rid of. If that type of rule is in place, they, there has to be something created to
Yeah,
help them be more decisive when it comes to goalkeepers, because you raised a very, very relevant point there, Dan. The goalkeepers are protected to an extent when they shouldn't be. They're another player on the field. They're, if anything, they're probably one of the most important. They are probably the most important players on the field, the two of them. So I mean,
And they're fucking big giants, an awful lot of them. Now, a lot of
yeah,
the top goalkeepers, they're monsters, like, And it's like if someone goes up and challenges them for a corner or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, foul, free out, like, goalkeeper goes
yeah.
down. And as I said, in three examples, I'm sure there's more, but they were the three that kind of stood out for me. And the common trend was there were bad decisions that they got wrong, and also
absolutely.
there was goalkeepers in them ones, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. What's he called? Yeah, more work absolutely needs to be done. A 1 out of 10 and a 3 out of 10. So I mean, you know, get working. Fantasy football. Dan, how is it looking?
Howard, do you want to take this now?
Well, from the look of it, we're two of us are the two highest in the league.
Man, we
Like
are we
we're
are
flying up. We're taking. I
there.
thought I was going to leave Dan for dust, but he had a good week there. In fairness to him.
Well, I tell you, it's interesting though when you look at the table. There's been a good few shifts. There's a few people who've just fallen asunder.
Really? Like
One of
how
your mates, Deck.
What flex?
Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan. We're
I
hunting him
We're
down.
hunting
So
him
yeah.
down. He was miles clear of us, so we're
Yeah,
hunting him
he was
down.
on top for a good while.
So he's a point ahead of me, and I'm 2 points ahead of Howard. And
He's gone. He's
we're,
gone
we're
to
catching.
he's gone to dirt.
Yeah. So Andrew Curley is at the top, but my brother, interesting enough, has Saka as his captain tonight, so he
Oh,
didn't
really?
go
Okay.
Oh,
in
I
on.
was going to do that. I was,
Yeah,
and
and
then
not
the
many.
goals that Hallen got during the week threw me
Yeah, and
against
most
Luton.
people have captain Haaland, so it's interesting. But he's the closest pursuer of Curly's Whirlies, so it's far from over.
Good.
And Hurt Lockard FC, Alan Malloy is up to third. If you remember earlier in the season, I was slagging him because
Yes.
he
Yeah.
didn't have Haaland in his team earlier in the season, and it just goes to show you if you get your team right and you sort shit out and get Haaland in your team, get stuff going, you can skyrocket up the league. So he's made ground there. The married power couple, Paul Breslin and Claire, like they were top, weren't they first and second
Yeah,
there for a
first
little
and
bit?
second, yeah.
And now Paul is down to 5th and Claire is down to 13th. So like
Oh,
Shite.
really?
it can just change like that though. Like a lot of people as well have gone with De Bruyne, which you can understand. But
Yeah.
the differential,
Yeah.
I suppose the word that they use in fantasy football terms is the differential. So you're going to have probably 7 or 8 nearly of your starting 11. A lot of people will have near enough the same or in around the same probably. And then it's them 3 or 4 players that can
Yeah.
make the difference. So for example, the last couple of weeks there, if you've had Foden and a lot of people have De Bruyne and you Foden, you're gaining ground. I would be probably a lot closer if I took Saka out of my team for 2 weeks. Everybody else has Saka, and he scored like what did he get? A hat trick against West Ham, and what did he get after that? Or 2 more or something. So it was
it's
5 goals like that I lost out on there. Like so, it can change.
Do you have him back in, Dan? Yeah.
I learned from that mistake. Like, it was awful. You're sitting there going, take him off. Fucking take him off.
Yeah, there's a few tricky weekends coming up now because of the FA
Yeah.
Cup. So there's a few, I think,
Oh,
few
yeah.
blanks on
there
the
is.
29th, is it? Or
Yeah, there's a blank one coming up now with the Paddy's weekend. I think because the FA Cup is on a game, so there's only like 4 matches in the Premier League on that weekend.
Yeah, game week 29. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and coming up as well, Dom Solanke, I'd say will be one that a lot of people go for because Bournemouth play twice, I think, next week.
Yeah, I have him in already. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, look, that's the table there.
So where do you find yourselves in the league?
I'm 7th and Howard's 8th.
Jesus Christ, good lads.
We're representing, Deck.
I'll tell you, I had you both written off, but I mean, you're slowly, you might not win it, but at least you're showing a bit of.
No, the negative side is Andrew Curley's 100 points ahead of both of us.
Yeah.
The positive side is that we're gaining on the ones that are above us.
Okay.
That's all you can ask for. You might get fantasy football here, Howard.
I'll give you credit. Fair play. It's 7 and 8. I didn't think you'd be in those positions.
We're on the screenshot, Deck.
Yeah, we're on the screenshot. And as you know,
oh, yeah.
And as you know, Deck, that it's not about the jersey anymore. It's about this lovely meal. So
yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah.
The loser is bringing the winner out for romantic meal, and I get to come along just to laugh. Out of curiosity, Dan, how many points is your brother behind Andrew Curley?
He's not far behind me because he has Saka as captain tonight. See Andrew Curley. Andrew Curley actually has two Arsenal defenders. He's Gabriel and Saliba at the back, so he'll be hoping for a clean sheet tonight. But my brother, let me see, he's got Saka and Gabriel. So he is, what are we now? What are we, 40 points in a round?
Okay, that's
45?
definitely
45. Oh yeah, 100%. Like even if he's Saka as captain tonight, he chips into that again. And I'm not sure whether or not he's used his wild card yet either, or no, if he has that left or what chips he has, because that's the other thing. Even some people, I haven't played my wild card. You've played yours, Howard, haven't you?
I played mine, yeah.
I haven't played my wild card yet either. So there's a few there that have still chips left.
I don't know when Salah is going to come back, but I have him kind of penciled in to come in as a transfer whenever I can.
He's back in training next week, but it'll be interesting to see.
They have to get him fit for City.
I don't know. Will he be though? Will he come from the bench as opposed to start that game? I'm not sure.
I like if you have the team, anything like the team that you played against Forest, I'd say.
Yeah, you're looking at. I'd imagine if you look at Liverpool's starting lineup now, I think he won't start in mine because I think that the way Klopp is, unless training goes really well and decides, fuck it, we need to you can gamble on him. It wouldn't be Klopp's kind of thing of doing it, but if
there was a game to gamble on him.
Yeah. You're looking at though. It'll be Nunez, Gakpo, and then it's a question of if Salah's fit, he starts. If not, it'll be Elliott more than likely, and then Szoboszlai's back, so midfield could be himself.
Put him in. He'll pull his hamstring. You win, and then he'll go on a big losing streak. That'll be the way.
But it'll be interesting to see whether or not he already just kind of maybe. Is he further on than any of us really know at the moment? And is it just a thing of, right, the whole target has been getting ready for City? And is he kind of a lot, maybe he could have played at the weekend kind of a thing. Could he have played? Maybe it's hard to know. But anyway, that's the fantasy football. And I said there's still lots to play for. It's like how many games have we got? How many games have we left?
11 games.
11 games left. So nearly a third, almost a third of the season. But what's it called? On to the big 3 predictions competition. Now, Howard, I know it's 8 o'clock, so if you do want to head off and watch,
that's all right. I kind of have it in the background here, so I'll tell you if the score.
You're on double duty, are you?
Double duty, yeah.
Fair enough. That's cool. What's it called? So, Palace versus Luton. Villa versus Spurs, which would be a very interesting game, and Liverpool versus City for next weekend. So, Dan, Palace and Luton, what do you think?
See that again, Howard. He's picked another. What did he pick? Bournemouth, Burnley last week. He's picked Palace, Luton this week.
Oh,
Hideous man.
God. Palace
Doesn't
Luton.
matter. It doesn't matter what I pick. Nobody's going to get
Shit.
Nobody's going to get 3 of them correct. So, man,
Yeah.
I might go back to 2 games just for one weekend.
FA Cup is coming up actually. FA Cup
Yeah,
weekend.
we
You
might
love
do
it out too. You love it out too.
I'll see. I'll consider if I'm in a good mood around Paddy's Day. I will consider doing a 2 game that weekend.
I'll go for 2-1 Palace.
2-1 to Palace.
Yeah.
That's an important game at the bottom.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Howard?
I'll go for 3-1.
Oh, what?
3-1 Palace. Sorry, Arsenal hit the crossbar. 3-1 Palace.
Who was it?
It was, I think, Martinelli or one of these. Saka. It was the Saka.
One of these.
One of these.
Okay.
Like 1 minute gone and it hit the crossbar already. But anyway, go for
that
it.
could be a fucking catastrophe.
It could be. It could be. Yeah.
Massacre. Villa versus Spurs down.
I go 3-1 Villa.
That's a good one. Howard,
The Spurs got lucky again, didn't they? They just they seem to just turn on the last 10 minutes in their home
Yeah,
pitch.
they're leaking goals though, aren't they?
Yeah, I'll go 2-2. I'll go 2-2.
All right.
Yeah,
actually, Saka hit the crossbar.
You'd imagine there'd be a good few goals.
Yeah,
you think in that game?
Yeah,
good game. Is that on telly? That one.
Yeah, it is. It's on Saturday as far as I know. Then the big game of the weekend, I can't fucking wait for it. Liverpool versus City. Dan, you first. Howard, you're not really the neutral with this one, but
well, I am.
I'd imagine he'd want to draw. I think he'd be a draw.
I'm going to finish the podcast on how Arsenal could genuinely be the real winners next weekend. But Dan, Liverpool and City.
I go 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, balance. Good stuff. Like to see a little bit of what's the word? Competitiveness in you.
What do you
mean by that, Jack? That's very smug, isn't it?
I was hardly going to go. 2-0
No,
City.
just give it. No, not at all. I'd never know.
Oh, the arrogance is
not at all. The fact
for the good of the game. Has to be Liverpool win for the good of the game.
Fair play to you, Dan. You actually think you might win. Well done.
No, but come on, let's look at look at the fucking evidence in front of us now, okay?
Well, the evidence is the Liverpool are 2 points ahead of you. That's the evidence.
1 point
ahead. 1 point ahead of you.
1 point ahead of us, right?
And they're playing at home, like.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, I mean, he's been brave. I mean, the games over the last few seasons between Liverpool and City. Liverpool do have the edge on them, but there have been a lot of draws. I would have.
Am I right in saying that City have only won twice in the last 30 or once in the last 36 attempts at Anfield?
Yeah, absolutely. So I genuinely would have thought that he would have gone for a draw, given the amount of injuries that they have, given the fact.
You're digging a hole, yeah.
I'm not digging any hole.
Look. I can understand where you're coming from, Blake.
I don't think City are going to win. I think it's going to be a draw. And that's why I think
a draw isn't the worst result.
No.
I do feel for Liverpool though that momentum that it would give them if they were managed to hit City at the weekend. So
better question, like what are you basing a 2-1 victory on? Why, like given the players you have at your disposal at the moment?
Because I don't think that if you look at next weekend, if you're to take fair enough, Trent will be missing. But like it's going to be, and fair enough, we're missing Allison. But if you look at Kelleher and Bradley's performances since they come into the side, they weren't playing.
Odegaard. Sorry, just get that in there.
4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Oh, for fuck's sake! What'll be fucking
9
or 6?
That could be a hammer, lads. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm just talking about like the players that have come into the team that they've been doing well, they've been in form. So I'm happy enough with Kelleher and goals, Bradley a right back, and then you're looking at like Kanai and Van Dijk. They've been our centre halves for most of the season when they're fit. Robertson is back; he's left back. He will be the left back. And you look at the midfield. The midfield that he's going to play is outside of maybe Jones would possibly have started. Like it's going to be probably Endo, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. So that's near enough our midfield.
And then it's just a question: Szoboszlai fully fit?
Well, I'd imagine that he might get a few minutes against Prague, and then he'll be starting on Sunday. We've Sparta Prague away in the Europa League. That's the other thing. A fucking injury or two there, like because we don't have an awful lot of.
That's away, is it?
Yeah, we're away first leg away. I think. Yeah, first leg's away. But like and then you're looking at whether or not Salah will start because fair enough, Jota is a miss, but like Nunes would probably have started, and then you're playing Gakpo. So Yeah, I just think that Pep, when he goes to Anfield, you can see it in him. Like he'll probably make one or two fucking changes. He'll probably overcomplicate things for himself, and like he can get at cities defensively, get at them. And of course, you're going to need a small bit of luck with the few injuries that we have, but I still be confident enough. I've been saying this for months, Tech, regardless of the injuries. I'm just really confident that Liverpool will beat City at Anfield.
Okay, that's 100%. I just needed to understand your rationale. That's okay. Howard, what do you think?
Oh, look, I'm gonna say a 2-1 win for City. And look,
Can I ask
it's
what's your
nothing
rationale
against.
for that?
I even was even to this weekend talking to my Liverpool friend, and I was saying to Higgy, I was like, look, I hope Liverpool beat City. I just think there's a better chance of Liverpool maybe dropping points between now and the title running than City do. But I just look at the performances of Liverpool at the moment, with the team that they have, and I just don't see that team being at the level of being able to beat City. That's kind of just the way where I am with it. I think if you have your full strength team and
Yeah,
it's in Anfield, 100%, I think
that's a different story
I think
altogether.
Liverpool
So,
win the game. I think Liverpool win the game, but I think it's great, like the games they played with the kids and how well they've done. But like playing against City in a title running like that is a completely different kettle of fish. So I think, look, if they can get everyone fit except for Salah, they stand a chance. But they really need the crowd to be like, this is it now. This is like it's the two City games for Arsenal and Liverpool are the two
Mm.
is where the league's going to be won and lost. Like that's it. The two, like out of all these three teams, like one of these teams is going to have a perfect end to the season, I think. And whoever's going to be that is going to be the team that wins it. That's where I stand. I can't see everyone dropping points like more than 3 or 4 points between now and the end of the season.
I think it's going to be a draw at the weekend. I'm going to go down for 1-1. Um, but what you got? I don't think City have had a better chance to go to Anfield and win in a long time, given the injuries at Liverpool at the moment. So I'll go for 1-1 with that one. Again, do please send in your entries to us on Instagram by 10 p.m. on Friday. The winner will be going off to a Premier League team of their choice. They'll get 2 match tickets. It has not been done yet. Probably won't be done, but we'll see what happens. So do please send in your 3 predictions to us. And that kind of finishes it up this week, man. Any other business to discuss? Howard, still 1-0?
Still 1-0, 8 minutes gone.
Who assisted Howard?
Who assists? Rice. Rice has got a lot of assists
He's
now
a lot of
recently.
assists
He's playing
recently.
now. Jorginho's playing 6, so he's playing kind of a bit higher up. Rice
Yeah,
this
yeah.
game. He's taking all the corners, so
Yeah,
That's
that's
they
good.
put
good.
him on corners and he started scoring a load of corners with him on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. His delivery is insane. Like, yeah. So
What do you call it? Like Arsenal will likely win tonight. So again, it's back to 2 points between top three. If City and Liverpool draw, Liverpool are
Arsenal will
6.
go top. If
goal
Arsenal go
difference.
top,
If
Yeah.
they beat Brentford,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
if we drew, Arsenal would be top ahead of
Mm.
ye by goal
Mm.
difference.
But
So
like, this is where I know you were saying, Deck, that last, because like, it puts Arsenal driving seat. But in the end of the day, like, Arsenal has to go to Etihad. Like, it's that's the game that's going to be
yeah,
that's gonna call it. I think
They
if
go to
Arsenal go
Spurs as
and
well, don't
beat
they?
if Arsenal go
yeah,
and beat City in the Etihad, then it's on. But like that's
yeah,
a big if,
100%.
obviously. You know
God,
what I
yeah.
mean?
What do you call it? I mean, both of you have to go to United. I think. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dandy, like I
Think
Now
think
we have to
Liverpool's
go.
running is definitely the easiest out of the three. I think.
We play less of the top, say 6 or 7 teams, but we
Mm.
we have to go away. We've Merseyside Derby away at Everton.
Villa away.
We
yeah.
have Villa away. We have to play Spurs well at
Yeah, at
home.
home, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And we have
United
to
away.
we have to play United away. Yeah. Yeah. United came to Anfield and got a draw. Remember, wasn't it?
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, earlier this season. So, but there's going to be, and the thing is, we can talk about all the big games and that, but it always happens in the
Of
title order.
course.
There'll be one or two, especially if it gets near the time that all three are in it, where there'll be a team that might be struggling near the bottom. That'll just make it difficult, and it'll
Yeah.
be who has the minerals then to
Who's
for
who's
something bit of magic.
who do you think is going to
Minerals.
break first out of the three of us?
Of the three teams, well, like our players are breaking
Oh no, no, I mean
themselves.
us three individuals.
Oh, okay.
Who's going to break first?
Well, Howard well, I suppose Howard has a bit of experience because
Oh, what a pass.
the millionaire bottle jobs bottled it last season, so
Oh, yeah, yeah.
they
Well, I was nearly broke at Christmas when we lost 2 games
You
in a row.
were.
So
Actually, we should try and see, can we get one of them clips of Christmas? Howard said they're out. I'm pretty sure he said they were out with the title race. It was over. It was done.
And I said like the weekend before we were going to win it.
Yeah,
I know.
that's right. That's right.
I would say, Deck, you have a lot of other things coming on your plate. So I imagine that along with the title run, I reckon you'll be the first to break.
Because I have a baby on the way, you don't think City are going to win the title and I'm going to break?
No, I think just between the fact that you have a baby on the way and City are in the City,
you're sleep deprived.
I just think, yeah, you'll be the first to break. I think.
Start screaming myself to sleep. Oh God.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
But it should be a good weekend. It'll be interesting. Brentford are the kind of a team as well that can just kind of make things a bit difficult as well.
Arsenal are at home.
Yeah, like
Arsenal home, but Brentford are kind of just one of them kind of teams though. That kind of
3D, but I just haven't been impressed with Brentford. I watched them against Liverpool and against City, and I just thought they were kind of pretty poor. But like as you said, yeah, Tony up front, they can play like that. But have
is it Wissa? His goal
Visa,
at the weekend?
whatever.
Fantastic goal against Chelsea.
Oh, it's unreal goal. Yeah. He's on form.
As for the Chelsea, that's what's going to be them for the rest of the season now, isn't it? It's just going to be kind of win one week, draw or lose the next week.
We'll focus on Chelsea next weekend, will we?
Yeah.
11th. Yeah, we'll
There's only one game we're focusing on next weekend, and I don't know which way it's going to go. I think it'll be a balanced 1-1, but we'll see.
I do think though for Liverpool that it'll be especially going into the international break is after, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The cup will be on Monday in between the international break.
Yeah.
But you kind of just want to be going in with the momentum because if you manage to not lose any against City being the first thing, you don't want to be losing that game. But like the players are coming back after the international break, might have a couple more back. So it's kind of, we've done well enough up to now, I think, to stay in the hunt with the injuries that we had and to get over the line in a few games.
You've done brilliant, Dan. I'm proud of you. Like,
God, Howard, he's a smoke break, isn't he? Oh, jeez, I hope we do them next again. The big 115 cheating bastards.
2-0.
Who scored?
2-0. Saka, own goal, but it was Saka cross, and then Sheffield United have to be one of the worst teams in the league.
I know,
the last 10 years.
What I want to know is, if you weren't on the podcast, Howard, is this how you celebrate goals?
Yeah, well, it's just so easy that it's just
ridiculous. Yeah. Like they're shouldn't be allowed in the.
I don't want to go over. I don't want to get the chest out yet, Dan.
Beating the chest.
Yeah. All right, listen, we'll wrap it up there for this week. Thank you very much for your input as always.
Before there's more Arsenal goals, better go. Yeah.
Absolutely. It could be a massacre. Lads, have a good week. We'll be talking to you.
Thanks a million.
Cheers, Zach.
Good luck.
Good luck.